Want to talk a bit about some proposals being laid out by the Home Secretary. She put forward in the crime and policing bill presented to MPs on the 25th of February. Just one caveat here: it is from the Daily Mirror, so partisan paper. It's a pro-Labour paper, um, but certainly I welcome some of the stuff. When it comes to crime, the pressing subject, it's a subject I feel very strongly about. But I'm not going to criticise any of this. It's good proposals. But I will say that all of this counts for nothing if it isn't followed by tough sentencing. You can give the police more resources, you can introduce more laws, you can talk tough on crime. But if it isn't followed up by tough sentencing, then it's all meaningless, really. And the Mirror won't report the fact that there is disillusion in the police. When they spend time fault policing, knocking people's doors for that reason, rather than following up on actual crime, it's infuriating for the public. It's disillusioning, I think. But on a more optimistic note, some of the stuff is definitely welcome. I'm just going to read out some of the proposals that have been made. This is the headline of the paper, I should say. Both Yvette Cooper and Keir Starmer have made a thing of, sounding tough on crime. And rhetoric in of itself is just rhetoric, but I think at least it's a sort of understanding of where the public radar is. So I wouldn't totally dismiss it, something. And it isn't consistent across the government. I mean, the prisons minister takes a very different attitude. He thinks we punish too many people. But he's a junior minister, so I guess it's more important to see the direction of the Home Secretary. This is some of the things that are being proposed. E-scooters. Police will be able to seize vehicles such as e-scooters without warning. Today in Sunderland city centre, I saw some young teenagers, racing down one of our main streets, Homeside, if you know Sunderland. They can't have been more than 15, and just doing wheelies and all. This is a serious problem regarding antisocial behaviour. Knife crime. Officers will be able to seize and destroy deadly knives found on private property. The maximum penalty for selling them to under 18s will rise from 6 months to 2 years. There will also be a new criminal offence of possessing a blade with the intent to cause harm, with a sentence of up to 4 years. Some might say that 2 years is still too lenient, and I'd probably agree. Nevertheless, 6 months to 2 years is fourfold, so it is a significant increase. Retail crime. There will be a new offence of assaulting a shop worker. The bill also removes the Tory loophole that treats retail theft of goods worth less than £200 as a summary offence. Businesses say this empowers organised shoplifting gangs. I have huge sympathy for small shopkeepers because they've really been plagued by criminal gangs. I saw a report, one market in Leeds, shopkeepers had basically given up. They didn't have any trust in the police to follow up. I personally witnessed, I was in Gateshead a few years ago, and some guys came in, took some pasties and just ran out. It wasn't even that they snuck them under their jacket, they just ran out. And I actually said to the assistant, look, I've seen which direction they went, and then said, no mate, it's not worth it. The police don't care. In the grand scheme of things, pasties might not seem like much, but it's a graduation, They get empowered by that. They go up to bigger things. That's the point. And it's just basically, I think the danger with this is, I'll just focus a little bit on this because it is a major crime epidemic at the moment, is that if thieves feel they can get away with stealing one thing and then another thing, and organised gangs of thieves go in, that's completely a green light if they feel there's no consequences. If they themselves know that the police won't follow up on it. Shopkeepers are then in a position where do they defend their property and possibly risk personal safety? In one case I heard about a thug using a hammer to try and get into the shop. This is the sort of thing shopkeepers are dealing with. Exploitation. A new offence of child criminal exploitation will be created to target gangs who recruit kids. And it could be up to 10 years maximum penalty for those who do. Again, probably should be longer, but at least it's a custodial sentence. Cuckooing. This is a new one, I haven't heard of this. There will be a new offence of cuckooing, taking over the home of a vulnerable person for criminal activities. The bill also extends the current offence of exposure and creates a new child abduction offence. Violence against women and girls. New offences will criminalise taking or recording intimate images or videos without consent. There will be a new offence of spiking, and stalking protection orders will be strengthened New offences spiking? Surely that's already illegal. It must be new details or something. I don't know what they mean by new offence. Stalking. Police will have more powers to identify online stalkers to victims. And there's a case study here of a young woman who was murdered by her boyfriend. Police powers. There will be no need for warrants to raid addresses that stolen devices have been traced to. Police powers to manage registered sex offenders will be reformed. Probation services will be able to polygraph test criminals who have committed sexual or terrorism motivated crimes. Protests. Possession of fireworks or pyrotechnics or other pyrotechnics will be banned at protests. There will be also a new offence of criminalising climbing on specific war memorials. Face coverings at protests designated, and that got cut off. I assume that would be designated unlawful or illegal. I take the view in the UK you've no reason to be covering your face at a protest. That might be understandable in Iran, where you could be identified and your family persecuted and you could be tortured, but not in Britain. Like I say, this crime and policing bill put forward to MPs on the 25th of February. The new laws will be backed up with 13,000 extra neighbourhood police roles by 2029. Last month, the government announced £200 million of funding to boost the first wave of recruitment, which will mean town centre teams are supported with additional police. In Sunderland, they've stepped up patrols in the city centre, and that's much needed because we do have a serious problem of antisocial behaviour in Sunderland city centre. There's always kids going around doing what they want, mouthing off to people, throwing rubbish all over the place. It's pathetic. Neighbourhood Watch head John Hayward Cripps welcomed the laws. He said the focus on addressing and reducing the epidemic of antisocial behaviour, theft and shoplifting that we all witness will play an important role in increasing feelings of confidence in the police and feeling safe in the local communities. And there's a piece here by the Home Secretary. Yeah. That's a young woman whose case highlighted this problem of stalking. Alice Ruggles, her boyfriend actually murdered her. So that's a case study that is being used here. So I welcome a lot of this. It's just mostly common sense, but I think there are other areas. The Tories certainly should take some blame for the cuts that they imposed, but Labour, I like the fact that there's a focus on being tough, but like I said, this really, really has to be matched with tough sentencing. Something the report does not mention is career criminals. Now, that really needs to be focused on. I made a video a while back. Dr. Lawrence Newlove, if I've got his name right, I'll double check that. If I've got it wrong, I'll amend that in the description. But he said that studies have shown that where career criminals are arrested and jailed, it actually has a serious reduction in crime. It works. I know that there's an issue right now with prison overcrowding, but absolutely career criminals should be a priority. There's no sane reason why they should be appearing before a judge over and over and over again just to get a suspended sentence or a community sentence. If they're career criminals, they need to be behind bars. Absolutely. So I want to see the Home Secretary talking about that. There has to be less focus on thought policing. No focus, in fact. The police have no business going to someone's house because they said something rude on Facebook. Unless there's an explicit threat of violence or, like I said, targeted bullying of an individual, the police really have no business being involved in that. That's totally the wrong priority. And then they say they don't have the resources to tackle shoplifting. The police themselves need to do a much better job of reassuring the public. I think in recent years, frankly, they have failed. This isn't a sign, this isn't a reflection of every police officer. There are police officers who take, who are a credit to their uniform. They do take serious personal risks. I'm not disrespecting them. I do think there's been too many decisions at the top that the police don't do themselves any favours. When they're knocking on someone's door for saying something online, criticising corrupt Labour councillors, and yet they then say, oh, well, we simply don't have the resources to tackle shoplifting. No, you can't have it both ways. So the police themselves really need to improve public confidence. Judges need to improve. I know sometimes their hands are tied, but I also think too many judges are ideologically lenient. When they're getting a career criminal before their bench, they need to be issuing tougher sentences. So I welcome all of this. It's good. It is good. But it has to be backed up with tougher sentencing. Otherwise, it's meaningless. Let me know your thoughts.